I was sitting in on a meeting the other day and we were talking about a specific course for a training program that we're developing. And so I'm talking to the management team about which subject matter experts that we're going to engage for content development and review. And one of the managers said something that really stuck out in my mind. He said, I'm trying to figure out what that fine line is between engagement and burden. He wanted his subject matter experts, he wanted his practitioners, those closest to the work, to be involved in the process, and he wanted to engage them enough without burdening them away from their day-to-day work. I mean, in facilities management, these guys have a ton of things to do every day, a lot of which is not planned. And so scheduling meetings for them to be a part of and be actively engaged was kind of a process really to think about how we were going to do that. And it got me thinking about my own team. We have a production team, a content creation team, and I think about, okay, do I want them involved in this meeting so they can hear directly from our subject matter experts, or is this something that I can just take notes on and give to them later? Should I do a recording in case they can't make it? And so I go through the same process too of, okay, there's a fine line between engagement and burdening my team. As their manager, I want them to be involved, but I also recognize that meetings can suck sometimes, especially when you are sort of a passive participant and you're just listening and you don't have a lot of contribution for whatever reason. And also, I'm aware that we have deadlines. I'm aware that when I ask them to be in a meeting, that's time away from production. And so it is a fine line. And then I thought about my own experience. I had a mentor who coached me most of my career, and he had me attend pretty much every meeting that he attended. And in the beginning, I would go to him and say, okay, what is my purpose in this meeting? What's my role in this meeting? Just so that I could prepare with notes or research or whatever I needed to do. And a lot of the times his answer was, I just want you there to listen and learn. And as we got further through the process, he was teaching me to be his successor. And the best training ground for that was those meetings. And there were many times when I would sit in and say nothing. And there were times when people would kind of look at me and like, okay, what's this girl doing in here? And I just had to know that I was there to learn. And I did. I learned so much. That exposure was priceless. I learned some of the why behind what we were doing. I learned about the business operations. I learned terminology, that technical jargon. I picked up on key phrases and key words. I got to hear from other leaders and our partners and from clients and other organizations. I got to hear from that management perspective. I mean, I got all this information that I otherwise would not have had access to. And so those meetings really were the best training ground, especially when it came to learning to take over some of those new responsibilities. And then also just getting exposure to clients and people that I was working with. And so, I do think there's a fine line, between production and administrative work. And as long as everyone's aware that we're taking you away from production specifically for this reason. And sometimes, yeah, your production team is there to contribute, but also it's okay to listen and learn. I'm telling you, that time was priceless for me. And so I want to think about that for my own team of, I want them to have that same experience. If they want to learn and they want to grow, I want to be able to pull them in to meet the right people, to learn the language, learn the process, so that they're ready to take on that next step. So if you're on the production team, I want to hear from you. How do you feel about sitting in meetings when you're not always quite sure what to say or how to collaborate or speak up? And then as a manager, how do you make that judgment call? You heard some of my logic, but maybe I'm missing something. So either side of the fence, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Thanks, y'all.